This evening, first up, a 16-year-old boy is dead. A Corentyne community is grieving, and Guyana's police oversight body launched an immediate investigation. What happened on Princeton Access Road Thursday evening, and whether the officers involved bear any responsibility, is the question the nation is demanding be answered. Also, she went back to cook for her children and never came home. Shavannie Hanoman's body was pulled from a canal, and the man she shared 26 years of her life with allegedly told police exactly what he did. A daughter watched her mother walk out the door. That was the last time she saw her alive. Then, a 2-year-old playing with matches, a mother in the shower, and by the time she got downstairs, the upper flat was already gone. A West Coast Berbice family of 5 loses everything, including the tools that put food on the table. Meanwhile, mortgage interest tax relief doubled, 81,000 housing applications in the system, and a promise to clear every outstanding land title within 4 years. President Ali opens the Building Expo with announcements that could change home ownership landscape for a generation of young Guyanese. And Chile sends search and rescue teams as Venezuela struggles to recover from devastating back-to-back earthquakes, with years of economic hardship making every collapsing building that much harder to rebuild. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for June 26, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a 16-year-old boy is dead. A community is in mourning, and Ghana's police force's oversight body has launched an immediate investigation, all following a tragic incident in Corentyne on Thursday evening that has gripped the nation. Aftas King of Elisa Mary Race Course, Corentyne Berbice, died on June 25, 2026 after losing control of his motorcycle while reportedly attempting to evade a police patrol on Princeton Access Road, Corentyne Berbice at approximately 6:45 p.m. According to a police report, the teenager riding motorcycle CL5607 collided with a utility pole and sustained injuries. He was rushed to the number 75 Regional Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The Ghana Police Force's Office of Professional Responsibility moved swiftly, commencing an investigation into all aspects of the incident to determine whether any criminal or disciplinary culpability exists on part of the officers involved. Minister of Home Affairs Wanid Walren also issued a public statement extending condolences to the King family and giving a firm assurance that justice would not be sidestepped. The minister noted that every aspect of the incident will be carefully examined, and if any criminal or disciplinary culpability is established, it will be dealt with swiftly and in accordance with the law. She added that no one is above accountability. The minister also appealed directly to residents of Skeldon and surrounding communities where tension and grief have been evident to remain calm and allow the investigative process to proceed without interference. The Home Affairs Minister said it is essential that the truth is established through a comprehensive and independent investigation. The Ghana Police Force has echoed that commitment, assuring the public that appropriate action will follow should the investigation uncover any wrongdoing. Aftas King was 16 years old. Investigations are ongoing. In an update now on a story we brought to you yesterday, a woman who went to her estranged husband's home to cook a meal for her children never made it back alive, and the man she had shared 26 years of her life with is now behind bars, allegedly after confessing to her killing. Shavannie Hanoman, called Boo, a 46-year-old housewife of the Good Incline Iflot, West Coast Berbice, was reported missing on Wednesday night, June 24th, after she failed to return home. The following morning, her body was discovered floating in a canal a short distance from the family home. She was pronounced dead on arrival at the Lenora Cottage Hospital. Injuries were observed on her neck and other parts of her body, and the body now awaits a post-mortem examination at the Ezekiel Funeral Home. According to reports, Hanoman had separated from her 44-year-old husband, Himat Kumar Mohammed, earlier this month after a series of arguments, and had moved to her mother's home in Cornell, Idaho. On Wednesday, she returned to the family home to cook for her children, a gesture Mohammed allegedly misread as a sign she intended to stay. When she told him she would be home late and asked him not to follow her, a confrontation erupted. Their daughter told investigators she watched her mother leave the house, with Mohammed following close behind. That was the last time she saw her mother alive. Mohammed was arrested and questioned, during which he allegedly blurted out, "I just joked you 2 times." He then reportedly gave investigators a detailed account of what unfolded at a wooden bridge at the Groot, describing how an argument turned violent and how he drew a knife and stabbed her once in the chest and once in the chin before pushing her body into the canal. Mohammed led the police back to the bridge, where he identified the exact spot of the alleged attack, and to his bedroom, where he said he had retrieved the knife. He remains in custody at the Leonora police station as investigations continue. On a different note, owning a home in Guyana just became significantly more affordable. President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali used the opening of the International Building Expo 2026 at the Guyana National Stadium on Thursday to announce that the government has doubled the mortgage interest tax relief ceiling for first-time homeowners, a move he described as making the government a direct partner in every new home built.
The government has doubled the ceiling on mortgage interest tax relief for first-time homeowners. Under Section 20A of the Income Tax Act, if you're a first-time homeowner living in your own property, you can now deduct from your taxable income the full interest you pay on mortgage principal up to $30 million. All of the interest you pay, you now can deduct it from your taxable income. That is a government that cares about you owning your own home. What does this mean in practice? It means the government is sharing the cost of your mortgage with you. That is what it means in practice. That the government is sharing the cost of your mortgage with you. We're not just giving you access to loan. We are making the government your partner in building your home. Every year, when you file your taxes, the interest you paid on your home loan comes back to you, directly reducing the tax you owe, increasing your disposable income, and putting more money back in your pocket.
The announcement came against the backdrop of a housing sector experiencing explosive demand. Applications in the system have reached 81,000, with 67 of those being new applicants who entered since 2020, averaging just 23 years old.
Can you imagine, in any economic scenario, where a 23-year-old is taking their step to home ownership with confidence, knowing that there is a government that will deliver?
President Ali also pledged to dramatically accelerate the clearance of outstanding land titles. While 30,000 titles were processed between 2020 and 2026, with just over 20,000 still outstanding, the president committed to processing the remainder at a pace far exceeding previous years.
We're going to back the system to clear the backlog of all titles that need to be processed. But we also need the allottee to ensure from their end they're concluding their transaction to have the title delivered to them. Because whilst we have processed 30,000 titles, there are still thousands of titles in the vault awaiting delivery.
A comprehensive housing development strategy is expected to be unveiled in the coming weeks, aiming to eliminate the backlog in full within 4 years, with a special focus on persons living with disabilities, single parents, and other vulnerable groups. The president also pointed to increasingly favorable mortgage conditions across commercial banks and the new building society, with some institutions now offering rates as low as 3.5% and 100% construction financing. The expo, which attracted more than 500 local, regional, and international exhibitors, also drew regional attention. Jamaican Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness was among those in attendance, underscoring the growing regional significance of Guyana's construction and housing boom. Stick around when we return. Guyana to build 300 plus homes in Jamaica as second phase of hurricane relief. And a shower, a scream, and then flames. Family of 5 left homeless in West Berbice fire.
From every region, Guyana is coming together. One Guyana worship experience. Featuring award-winning gospel artist, Sinach. Grammy Award-winning worship leader, Naomi Rain. Also featuring Positive.
Rolling in my two-man army. My Jesus and I.
Samuel Midas. Timothy Roberts.
The name of Jesus is higher than every name.
Renwick Dewsbury.
I move according to purpose. Not this time.
Faith Korika Ned. Solid Youth, and many more. But passes must be secured through your local church and designated distribution locations across the country. July 6, Guyana National Stadium. One nation, one voice, one Guyana worship experience. Sponsored by the Government of Guyana.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2026, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Tuesday, July 14, 2026 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. A family of 5 has been rendered homeless after a fire, believed to have been accidentally started by a 2-year-old child playing with matches, completely gutted their 2-story wooden and concrete home at Bath Plantation Road, Hope, West Coast Berbice, on Thursday morning. 20-year-old Bibi Wahab was showering when her toddler knocked on the bathroom door, calling for her. Moments later, neighbors began shouting. By the time she grabbed her child and ran downstairs, the upper flat was already engulfed in flames.
I don't know how this fire happened. I was bathing and I got my 2-year-old with me downstairs. And he rapped on the door 2 times, I called like, Mommy, and I opened the door and I said, I'll come in just now. And he kept calling and me had no clothes. I could barely make it to brush my teeth. I was around 10 something. And when he calling, the girls over there, the neighbor, they're hollering. They're calling for me and we barely grabbed the shell and I run it.
Nearby workers and residents rushed to help, but the blaze spread too rapidly to be contained. The fire destroyed everything the young family had worked to build, along with her husband's tools, drills, grinders, and saw he depended on for construction and for making hollow blocks, the family's sole breadwinner. He was at work when the fire started. However, the devastation did not stop at one household. The man's family occupied the ground floor of the same building. His 56-year-old mother, Jasoda, who had owned the home for nearly 20 years, was also at work when she received the news. She lost everything as well. Divisional Fire Officer Clive MacDonald confirmed that the Ghana Fire Service received the report at approximately 10:10 hours and responded immediately. Preliminary investigations suggest the fire started after the 2-year-old was playing with matches, though the investigation is still ongoing. The family is now appealing to the public for any assistance as they face the heartbreaking task of starting over with nothing. In other news, with Jamaica's Prime Minister seated in the front row, Ghana's President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali delivered a powerful statement of regional solidarity on Thursday, announcing that Ghana will construct more than 300 homes in Jamaica as the second phase of its recovery support following the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa. Speaking at the opening of the International Building Expo 2026 at the Ghana National Stadium in Providence, President Ali made the pledge directly to Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, who is currently on a 2-day visit to Guyana.
The Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, we want you to be confident that Guyana private sector, with our banks, with our builders, with our material, that we can build that community that needs to move because of the erosion that took place after the hurricane. Let us partner with Jamaica in building that 300 plus homes, because that is the only way we can demonstrate the level of growth and advancement in our business solutions.
The announcement builds on a relationship forged in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, which struck Jamaica in late October 2025 as the most powerful storm in the island's recorded history, leaving homes, hospitals, power stations, and government buildings damaged or destroyed. Ghana was among the first CARICOM nations to respond, dispatching generators, tarpaulins, chainsaw, food, building materials, and water tanks in rapid succession. In November 2025, President Ali personally toured storm-battered communities in western Jamaica alongside fellow CARICOM leaders and committed Ghana Defense Force troops to a joint regional mission to restore shelter before Christmas. Guyanese engineering troops have since been working alongside the Jamaican Defense Force on the ground. Beyond housing, the two leaders have been holding broader bilateral talks during the Prime Minister's visit, covering cooperation in agriculture, energy, culture, and the sports, including arrangements for athletes to train across both countries and plans for a joint cricket academy. President Ali described the engagements as laying the foundation for deeper ties among the governments and private sector and citizens of both nations. Don't go away after the break. 2024 Kenya protests, 2-year anniversary of youth-led demonstrations, and UK extends red warning for heatwave. Much of Europe is seeing extremely high temperatures.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
From every region, Guyana is coming together. One Guyana worship experience. Featuring award-winning gospel artist, Sinach. Grammy award-winning worship leader, Naomi Rain. Also featuring Positive.
Rolling in my two-man army. My Jesus and I.
Samuel Midas. Timothy Roberts.
The name of Jesus is higher than every name.
Renwick Dewsbury.
No more detours. I move according to purpose. No more detours.
Faith Korika Ned, Solid Youth, and many more. But passes must be secured through your local church and designated distribution locations across the country. July 6, Guyana National Stadium. One nation, one voice, one Guyana worship experience. Sponsored by the Government of Guyana.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2026, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can make a claim for registration, change, correction to your particulars, or you can object to the inclusion of anyone whom you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. All GCOM registration offices will open Monday to Friday from 8 to 18 hours, Saturday, Sunday and holidays from 10 to 14 hours. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins tonight. The Caribbean rallies behind Venezuela after powerful twin earthquakes leave thousands feared dead. Kenya's police fired tear gas as protesters mark 2 years since a deadly youth uprising. And Europe swelters through record-breaking June heat for a second consecutive day. We will begin in the Caribbean. Caribbean governments have expressed condolence and pledged support to Venezuela following two powerful earthquakes that struck off the country's coast on June 24th. The tremors, measuring magnitude 7.2 and 7.5, caused building collapse and triggered a tsunami warning that was later lifted. Jamaican, Trinidad and Tobago both offered assistance, with early USGS estimates suggesting casualties could potentially reach into the thousands. A series of earthquakes has compounded Venezuela's long-running economic crisis, leaving communities struggling to cope with damaged infrastructure and limited resources. Al Jazeera's Latin American editor Lucia Newman reports.
In Spanish, you say, it's raining on top of a flood, a way of acknowledging that things have gone from very bad to worse. As tens of thousands of Venezuelans try to cope with the aftermath of two devastating earthquakes. 6 months after the Trump administration removed former President Nicolás Maduro, declaring that the U.S. would call the shots under an interim government, little or nothing had changed when the earth started shaking Wednesday night. 73% of Venezuelans are still living under the poverty line. Inflation continues soaring, and the national debt is reportedly $240 billion. But Venezuela's changing political dynamics are noticeable in the current context, says Sebastián Romero, speaking from Caracas.
A few hours ago, Corentyne unblocked access to Twitter, now called X, which had been blacked out for years. The government had to wait for a catastrophe to unblock a tool that is so vital.
The U.S. State Department has announced what it calls a swift and integrated government response, including airlifted rescue teams and assistance worth an additional $150 million. In past natural disasters, Venezuela's left-wing government refused help from the U.S., its ideological enemy. The same is true for Argentina and Chile.
This morning, I was able to speak on the phone with interim President Delcy Rodriguez and transmit the Chilean nation's solidarity and tell her that very soon we will be sending aid and collaboration for her people.
40 Chilean urban search and rescue responders were already preparing to leave for Venezuela when we arrived. Chile is one of the most earthquake-prone countries in the world and has wide experience dealing with these disasters. There are 12 tons of equipment that will be going with these rescue teams. They include cameras and sonar radar to try to locate people who are still trapped under the rubble in Venezuela. What's interesting is that for the first time since January, the Venezuelan government, the interim government, is asking for help from countries like Chile with whom they don't have diplomatic relations, countries that have been long opponents of the regime in that country. And with much of their country's infrastructure already in shambles before the earthquake, Venezuela needs all the help it can get from former friends and foes. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Santiago.
Police in Kenya have fired tear gas and arrested dozens of protesters. The demonstrators were marking 2 years since a youth uprising where more than 60 people were killed by security forces. Al Jazeera's Malcolm Webb reports.
The demonstrators say police brutality must end. Kenya's President William Ruto said protesters must not shut down the country. In Nairobi, police shut down roads leading to Parliament, where 2 years ago demonstrators entered. Then it was proposed tax increases, high living costs and corruption that brought tens of thousands of mostly young people to the streets. More than 60 were killed in a security crackdown. This time, demonstrators were in the dozens. President Ruto has promised compensation for those killed. Rights groups say those responsible must be held to account.
This is a call for justice, because every time there is a protest, innocent Kenyans are killed because these killer cops are not being arrested. They are not being held to account.
Groups of demonstrators in Nairobi's suburbs were dispersed by police. The government had promised to uphold protesters' rights.
The government respects the constitutional rights of all Kenyans to peacefully assemble for whatever reason on any day, any time.
So the demonstrators are insisting it's their right to be here after dozens of people were killed right here exactly 2 years ago, but the police are now trying to move them on. It's a contentious issue because the police had said that all demonstrations today would not be allowed for allowing this small group of activists to do what they've done here. It didn't last long, but this time the police used horses, not live gunfire, to break up the crowd at Parliament. There have been demonstrations against the government at this time of year ever since, but none on the scale of 2024. Elections are due in just over a year. Many young people say they want change. Rights groups say they're not free to express it. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Nairobi, Kenya.
Large parts of Europe are facing another day of extreme heat, with record temperatures expected to rise even further. In the UK, a record June temperature of more than 36 degrees Celsius has been set for the second day running. Al Jazeera's Rory Chadlands reports.
The UK has just had the hottest June day on record twice in a row. Reluctantly, I've left the sanctuary of the cool Al Jazeera offices because I'm on my way to go and meet someone to talk to about the effects of extreme heat on the human body, particularly in a country that isn't used to it. I've got my water, but first it's the ordeal of the tube. But here's the thing, the UK doesn't think of itself as a hot country. Most homes, small workplaces, even some public transport is not air-conditioned. Look, it's 30 degrees on the Northern Line. In 2022, the UK hit a record of 40.3 degrees. There were 61,000 excess heat-related deaths in Europe that year.
The body really needs a very narrow range of temperatures at which it functions normally, and if you raise that temperature beyond a certain level, that really is a very serious and life-threatening emergency.
On Wednesday, the London Ambulance Service recorded its highest ever number of those.
It takes about 3 weeks for people to fully acclimatise to the heat. We don't have that when there's a sudden heat wave.
The physical warning signs are nausea, confusion, rapid breathing and heart rate, losing your thirst, and particularly if you stop sweating. How are you keeping cool?
Lots of ice drinks and lots of stopping in like cafes and stuff and finding shade.
Do you think we need to get it into our heads that we're not actually a cool country anymore, that this is the reality going forward?
We were just talking about that, weren't we?
Yeah, because obviously in like other European countries that are traditionally hot, they have a much slower culture because of it. And I was literally just saying like 5 minutes ago, I feel like we need to start adopting that slow culture because it's not sustainable.
Yeah,
in this
afternoon
heat.
naps.
Yeah.
Breaks from work.
Historically, buildings in the UK were designed to retain heat and to cope with cold winters rather than to allow for people to keep cool. So it's very important in those circumstances for people to be able to access cooler environments. And you can do that at a shopping mall or a supermarket.
Taking Richard's advice, I've come to St Mary the Boltons. It's a church in Kensington that is one of a network of cool spaces across the capital that's opening its doors, welcoming in overheating Londoners to come and just chill. That's better. Rory Challens, Al Jazeera in London.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the Spirit Weather Forecast. And that's it to the True Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other and do have a wonderful weekend.